Stop selling coatings. Hi, I'm Yvan Lacroix, and this is the Detailer's Business Academy, where we strive to take you from detailer to entrepreneur. Now, coatings have been around for almost 20 years now, and they are an integral part of what we do as far as detailers. There are some people that still refuse to install coatings. Oh, it's a scam. It's not true. Well, let me tell you, it is true. And they do what they say they do. In most cases. Some companies may slightly exaggerate the truth, but in reality, coatings do protect paint, make it look better, make it last longer, and make the vehicle easier to maintain. But I'm telling you to stop selling coatings. Yes, stop selling coatings. You don't need to sell a coating. You need to counsel a coating to your customer. And that mindset shift, that little change in your mindset, will make a big difference in the amount of coatings you apply to vehicles and your bottom line. Coatings are the best things we offer to our customers when it comes to being detailers. It's about the only thing that we do that actually provides value. Our time is what we're selling. We're selling a service. That's what we're doing as far as detailers. Whether we're applying a wax or a sealant, it's temporary. It's not going to last a long time, and it gives your customer instant satisfaction, but not much more. Now, when it comes to a coating, you're actually giving them something that's going to improve the value of their vehicle slightly. It's going to maintain the value of their vehicle in the long term, and it's going to give them back time. Time that they're not cleaning their car, time that they're not maintaining their car, time that they're not waxing it and washing it and all that stuff. And that's what people want. We're out of time. And providing a coating to your customer is giving them back lost time. And that's the real value of a coating. Now, as detailers, we sell the fact that, oh, it's going to make your car glossy and it's going to make it bead water like crazy. Customers don't care. No, customers want simplicity. They don't want to be washing their car every week. They're not detailers. That's why they're coming to you. They want to be able to drive the car, take it through a car wash once in a while. Yes, people actually take their cars through car washes. It's not the end of the world. Trust me. And when they go to resell their vehicle, they want the highest value possible. And that's what a coating does. Now, unfortunately, many detailers that apply coatings, actually that sell coatings, don't actually have a coating on their own vehicle. Oh, it's not worth it for my car. Or my car's not worth it. Well, there's a lot of things going on in that statement. First of all, if your car isn't worth it, you're probably not charging enough. If you can't afford the same cars that you're coating, you need to raise your prices. And you need to figure out efficiency and get more efficient. But on the other hand, why don't you have a coating on your car? The detailers, and there's a lot of you out there that think, oh, yeah, it's not really worth it. I don't need it on my car. Well, if you had it on your car, you would counsel coatings to every customer that walked in the door. Because a coating actually does a lot of great things. And by not having it on your own car, just putting it on the odd customer's car and trying to upsell it and not really believing in what a coating does, well, you're never going to be able to be successful applying coatings. But if you have a coating on your car and you see what a coating can do for you, and more importantly, what a coating can do for your customers, then yes, you will sell a lot more coatings. Hey, you, are you liking this video? Well, give it a thumbs up. Yeah. And if you find value in the video, share it to other people. Leave a comment. If you're liking this, if you're agreeing with me, leave a comment. If you're disagreeing with me, please leave a comment. Yes, let's start a nice discussion here and get things going. Let's move this industry forward. The best way for you to see what a coating can actually do for you and for your customers is not to coat your whole car. Coat half your car. Drive around like that for a while. Yes, I know, it seems weird, but by doing that, you will know exactly why your customers want and need a coating. And no, coatings are not just for high-end vehicles. Coatings are for every vehicle. And normally the person that's slaved and worked hard to save up to buy that new Honda Civic, well, they probably care a lot more about their car and are more interested in it than the person that just leased a Lamborghini. So it doesn't have to be a high-end vehicle. It doesn't need to be a supercar. It doesn't need to be a new car. Every car deserves a coating, and every customer deserves a coating. You want to put a coating on every car. Once you realize what a coating can actually do for your customers, you'll want to put a coating on every car. Now, there are a lot of differences in the coating world, and there are some things you need to be aware of. There are some things your customers definitely need to be aware of, and there are things that you might want to steer clear of. First of all, that time-losing process of multiple layers. If your coating requires more than 2 layers, no, that's just a waste of your time and a waste of your customer's time. The other thing is, a lot of coatings, one and done, those are great. They're time savers. They generally will last 3 to 5 years. There are some that will last the lifetime of the vehicle. But on average, if you can get a one and done that's 3 and 5 years, that you don't need to put a topper on, that you don't need to add that you don't need to add something on top, that you don't need to maintain in an exact regime, then your customers will be happy. And as a business owner, a coating that's sitting there curing for 8, 24, 12, 36 hours is a waste of your time. It's another car that could be in there getting coated or detailed or anything. But those, unfortunately, still exist. And there's no need for that in this day and age. Many coatings can go on, and 1 hour later, your customer can drive away. Now, we have this reflex of, we want to keep the car longer because it makes it seem like more value for the customer. BS. Yes. Your customer sees more value in getting their car back the same day than you keeping it for 2 or 3 days. It's an inconvenience for your customer to have to leave you their vehicle. Whether you provide a loaner car, Uber, whatever, it's still an inconvenience. And the faster you can get it done, the happier your customer will be and the more value they will see in it. Now, I know that's contrary to what a lot of people say, but trust me on this one. Next time, offer your customer the opportunity of, you can either leave it overnight or pick it up the same day. Which would you prefer? They will always choose pick it up the same day because people want their cars back. People love their cars. That's why they're bringing it to you, because they like what they drive. They don't want to drive your loaner car. They don't want to be chauffeured around in an Uber. They want to drive their car. And people that like their cars get coatings on their cars. The two go hand in hand. Find yourself a coating that you can apply and not have to store for 8 hours or not have to use IR curing lamps. That time is past. There's no more need for that. Technology has advanced. Coatings are to a point now where we can apply them, let them cure for an hour if it's raining, and if it's not raining, the customer can drive away the minute you wipe that last little section off. It's as simple as that. There are coatings that exist that do that, and I'm not going to name names. You can do a little bit of research yourself. There's a lot of them out there. There's not just one, there's not just two, there's many of them. So do your testing, do your research, find a company that will support you in what you do, not one that you have to support. That being said, how do we counsel a coating to a customer? Well, first of all, like I said before, you need a coating on your vehicle, and every vehicle is worth having a coating. Don't be judgmental. There's no need for that. What is needed is more coatings on cars. The enemy is wax here. The enemy is not time. The enemy is not money. The enemy is wax. So let's look at wax. Wax, best case scenario, will last 3 months. Yes, 3 months. Not a long time. Well, let's say you charge $200 to wax a car. Customer keeps the car for 3 years. That's $800 a year that your customer should be spending with you to wax their car. You're going to apply a coating, a 3-year coating for, let's say, $1,200. How much money are you saving them? $1,200. Yes, It's easy math. Don't worry about it. So by applying a coating, you're actually saving the customer $1,200. You're also saving them having to come back to you every 3 months. Now you're saying, as a business, we want customers to come back. When you start applying coatings, trust me, your customers will come back. Often. And with a smile on their face, willing to pay you more than just a wax job. Because they've seen what a coating can do for them. They know now what a coating is. They know how great a coating is. They know how much time a coating is saving them. They know how much better their car looks. Hey, it rains and my car washes itself. From a detailer's perspective, no. But from a consumer's perspective, yes, that car is washed. Now, most people don't keep their cars that long. We sell 5, 7 lifetime coatings. Yeah. Most customers don't keep their car longer than 3 years. Selling a 5-year coating is great. A 7-year coating, spectacular. But do you need to sell that? No, you need to counsel that. Because we never know how long we're actually going to keep a car. Sometimes we keep them for months, and sometimes we keep them for decades. And the customer doesn't know that when they're getting the coating. They don't know how long they're going to keep their car. Now, if it's a lease, yeah, they might have an idea. But that being said, your best product is your longest lasting product. Always. But is it the best product for you to apply? Let me expand on that one. So if you have a 3-year coating that's one and done, you put it on the vehicle, takes you 20 minutes to apply, an hour later the customer can drive away. And let's say you charge $8.99 for that. That's great. Now, the 7-year or 10-year or lifetime coating that you apply that requires 3, 2, 5, I don't know how many coats. We'll say 2 coats. Takes 2 coats. Now you've got a cure time between those 2 coats. That cure time, anywhere from an hour to a day. If it's an hour, not too bad. If it's a day, you're losing money. Now, let's say it's an hour. So that hour at $120 an hour, that's adding up. Then you have to apply the coating again. That's adding up again. And you've got the cost of product, etc. Now, you're selling that for, let's say, $1,500. Well, for your customer, they won't see the difference between the 3-year and the 5-year coating. No. And you, as the installer, will see a difference. It's normal. You've applied something else. Even if there is no physical difference, you will perceive one. And you can do a test, a blind test. If you have an employee, have your employee install 1 layer of coating on one side of a hood and 2 layers on the other side without you knowing which side it's on. Let them cure overnight, and then come back the next morning and guess which side it's on. And yes, it will be a guess. You probably won't see a difference. A lot of it comes down to perception. We perceive that it's better because it's 2 coats. Now, some coating companies are actually putting 2 different layers on. And if they're 2 different layers, they do 2 different things. And yes, that is probably a better solution. But if you're putting 2 of the same thing on, it's probably not doing anything for you other than wasting your time. That extra time, that extra risk, and that extra labor all add up for you. And that adds up as a loss. So you really have to ask yourself, and you really have to calculate, is it actually better for me to install that multi-layer, super duper, long life coating that requires IR curing and a lot of time? Or am I better to do a 3-year coating or a 5-year coating that's one and done and out the door? It's a calculation you have to make. And as a business owner, I can tell you, if you're calculating properly, it's the one and done that will be the winner every time. You have to consider how much is that square footage costing you and put that over time. A lot of people don't do that calculation. And when you do that calculation, that multi-layer super duper coating isn't so super duper anymore for you. And for your customer, is it really doing any more? Now, there's another thing in our industry that's a little odd, and that is required maintenance. You're selling a coating because it's longer lasting. You're selling a coating because it's the best thing for your customer. But is it? If your coating requires a yearly topper, or else the warranty doesn't exist anymore, think about that. Are you actually selling a 5-year coating? Or are you selling a 1-year coating that needs to be replenished every year? For your customer, they would prefer the one and done. And yes, they'll be coming back for decontamination. Don't worry about it. Your customer will be happier. But if you're forcing your customer to come back every year under the guise of your warranty won't exist anymore, no, threatening your customer is not a good thing. And your customer, if they get counseled by someone else, hey, I can apply this coating, you're carefree for the rest of the life of your car. Or you're carefree for 3 years. And come back when you feel it needs to be decontaminated. And not everybody drives their car the same way. Not everybody maintains their car the same way. If you have a garage queen that just gets taken out for ice cream once in a while, and the odd car show, they don't need to have the car decontaminated every year. They might need it every decade. But if you have a daily driver that's driving around, parked outside, in the city, in the country, in an industrial park, they might need decontamination every 3 months or every 6 months. So telling your customer, if you don't come back once a year, your warranty isn't valid anymore, consider changing coating companies. Really? We're past that. Again, the coating technology is evolving like our industry has and will continue to evolve and get better and better and better and easier and easier and easier and faster and faster and faster to apply. Now, another thing that I see a lot of, and that it's a shame because it's not helping anyone other than the detailer's ego, and that is forcing the customer to get paint correction. Now, there's a difference between paint enhancement and paint correction. Paint enhancement is you're going over the vehicle, you're polishing it, and you're polishing it to clean it. You're not polishing it to eliminate every defect ever known to man. No, you don't need to do that. Your ego tells you you need to do that. Your customer doesn't need that. And most customers don't want that. Most customers can't see the difference between a paint enhancement and a paint correction. And if you're using a coating properly, and if you're counseling your customers properly, that coating is there for protection. But what are you doing when you're polishing for hours and hours and hours and hours? Or wet sanding and compounding and polishing? Sure, you're making the car look spectacular. Goes without saying. But every time you put that machine to the paint, you're removing paint. And every time you remove paint, you're devaluing the customer's vehicle. We don't need perfect paint to apply coating. Never has been, never will be. You need clean paint to apply coating. You can actually apply coating to a vehicle without touching it with a polisher. Your customer just bought a brand new car. They drove it from the dealership to your shop. They don't need polishing. Now, as a detailer, we're best to polish it. Why? Because we want it as clean as possible. And polishing is a great way of cleaning the surface. And we're going to enhance the gloss. We're going to make it look a little better. And then we apply the coating. But spending days or hours on a brand new car, polishing away, eliminating the defects that we see, is not great for your customer. And it's not great for you. Your customer just bought the car. To them, it is perfect. What do? We get out our 747 landing lights, go around the car, and point out every little defect we can find on the car so we can sell them paint correction. We'll stop selling paint correction. Yes, as a detailer, it's fun. It is a great thing to do. But start selling paint enhancement. It'll take you a lot less time. Your customer will be just as happy. Probably even happier, because now they're spending a little less. And that time you spend polishing paint isn't paying you as much as you think it is. But the time applying a coating, that's paying you the money you need and the money you deserve, and will allow you to drive a new car and a high-end car as opposed to that 1996 Honda Civic that isn't worth having a coating on. Yeah. So for your customer, they just bought the car. It is showroom perfect. Now, as detailers, we know that showroom and perfect never, ever go together. But for the consumer, they think that's as good as their car is ever going to get. It can't get any better. It's brand new. So if we start nitpicking the car and going over and pointing out every little defect that they've never seen and will never see unless we point it out to them, what's the point in doing that? So now, instead of doing one coating every 2 or 3 days, you'll be able to help many people by doing one coating a day or 2 coatings a day. That's going to help you. It's definitely going to help your customers because now they have coatings. So there's a lot of things in the coating industry that have evolved over the years. There's a lot of things that are getting better. And now it's up to the detailer to follow the companies. The companies have done everything they can to make applying a coating easier, applying a coating faster, to cure it faster, etc., etc. Well, most companies. And you as a detailer, now it's up to you to step up to the plate. It's up to you to realize that your customer doesn't need a perfect vehicle. Your customer doesn't want a perfect vehicle. Your customer wants a vehicle that's easy to maintain, that's easy to clean, that's not going to get damaged by bird crap, that's not going to get damaged by bugs, that's not going to have a myriad of little things happen to it that a coating can protect it. Now, a coating is not PPF. A coating will not protect against rock chips. No. There are some companies that say it does. No, it just won't. But there are a lot of options that we can provide our customer in terms of protection. Coating is one of the best. What's the best coating for you? Well, the best coating is one that's easy to apply, that doesn't require days and days and days of curing, or even hours, and one that you'll get great customer service from the company from. And I'm not going to tell you what company to go with because there's a lot of great coating companies out there. Find one that lasts. Find one that works for you. And find one that works for your customers. And when you're selling or counseling coatings, you don't need to tell the customer the brand. They don't care. They really don't. You might have 1 or 2 customers once in a while coming in asking for a specific brand. And if you can explain the reasons you're not using that specific brand, they'll go with you. Customers are buying your time. Customers are buying your service. They're buying your expertise, your knowledge, and your background. They're not buying a coating. So if you have a banner in your shop saying XYZ coating, take it down. Next time you do a video, have a banner with your company name in the background, not the coating company name, because you're not selling that coating. You're selling your time, you're selling your expertise, and you're selling your knowledge. And that knowledge is your company. So start doing your videos with, hey, I just coated this car. Look how spectacular it looks. Instead of, I just coated this car with, look how spectacular it looks. No. Customers don't care what brand you're using. When you go into a restaurant, do you ask them what brand of knife they're using to cut up the meat before they cook it? No. What type of pan are they using? No, you don't ask that stuff. Where did the cow come from? You don't care. You want a steak on your plate. Customers the same way. They're trusting you with their car. They're trusting you with your knowledge, and they're trusting you to say, I find this is the best coating for you. Another thing that detailers do is have multiple brands of coating. It's not required. Your customer needs 1 or 2 options. A short-term coating, we'll say a 3-year, and a long-term, 5 to 7 years. That's it. You don't need to offer a 1-year coating, a 6-month coating, a 2-year, a 3-year, a 4-year. No, you're just confusing your customer. Look, this is the best coating I have. And if you're budget conscious, if you're not going to keep the car a long time, well, we have another coating. Lasts not quite as long, not quite as glossy, but still going to protect your vehicle. Your customer will go for your top level coating about 90% of the time because you're enthusiastic about your top level coating. It's the coating you want to see on their vehicle, and not because you're more profitable with it, but because it's actually the best thing you can do for them. It's the best coating you can offer. When you go to a car dealership, they don't have the base model with the wind down windows, the rubber floor, and the AM radio. Does AM radio still exist? Anyways, the AM radio on the showroom floor. No, they've got the fully equipped, every option you could ever think of on the showroom floor because they want to show their customer what is the best, absolutely best product we have to offer you. And if you want to go down in value, well, we'll take you to the back of the lot where there's a car back there. Yeah, I think we have one in stock, but nobody ever buys that. You won't be happy. They've been doing it for decades, and it works, and it will work for you as well. Show your customer what's best. What would you like to have on your car? And then you'll be happy. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please leave them below. And happy to have been with you. Thanks a lot.